before the 7 seals are torn away. Whether it be plague, natural disaster, mass hysteria, nuclear fallout, zombies, alien invasion, or mankind's inevitable AI war. For when the bullets run out, the knives are too short, and life is on the line. What tactical low-maintenance survival tools will you use to protect your life in those broken future days? Be prepared. The elephant in the room is the fact that when you think about survival tools, you think about the end of days, natural disasters, zombie apocalypse and all that stuff, you normally think about zombie tools. Zombie tools is pretty much world renowned as far as being these tough as nails, knives and swords and battle axes and things that you're going to survive with if there is the end of days type of scenario. But the zombie tools are also, I mean, compared to the Apoc, zombie tools are probably about double or triple the price. These Apoc tools, and they were designed from Gus Trim, and they're sold and managed from Cat Siberia. And I'm just so glad to have my hands on these because I've been curious about these for a while. And thank you to Patrick from Cat Siberia for sending these my way and having me test them and all that. Patrick is a marketing manager at Cat Siberia, and I think he's actually a lot more important than that in terms of his title. We won't tell you that, but I think he's a lot more important. He's pretty important in Cat Siberia. But Patrick, thank you for having me take a look at these. Either for this price or any price, these things are tough. These things are freaking tough. I beat the shit out of these things, okay? And I'll get to that. But let's talk about these things a little bit and then get to the specs. And I'm going to show you what I did to kind of try and get some testing done on these. All right, first off, we have the Apoc Waki. Again, it was designed from Gus Trim. It's an 18.5 black ozide coating, 9260 spring steel. It's completely full tang. I mean, as full tang as it's ever going to be. It's got a riveted G10 handle, light fiberglass scabbard, kind of like Kydex with like a Mali compatible platform. The whole thing is about 28.25 inch overall. The handle, the G10 handle is about 8.25. You know, you definitely get a hand on there, and possibly 2 if you want. It's got a POB, a point of balance of about 2 inches, very good. A sori of about 3/4 inch. You know, it's similar to like a Japanese waki. And it's got an HRC of around 56, and it's about 1 pound, 14 ounces. Now, if we look at the Tanto is pretty much the same specs. The only difference is that the Tanto is about 16 inches overall. The blade is about 10.5 inches. The handle's 5.5, and it ends up being 15 ounces. Now, in terms of the finish, I noticed that they're both labeled as that black azide or oxidized finish. But if you look at the Tanto and the Waki, it looks like 2 different finishes. The Tanto looks like it's more of like a PVD coated, like a baked on finish, and this does look like the black oxidized. On this Waki, you can see it looks like 2 different finishes, but that's the way they advertise it, that's the way it is, but I definitely see a little bit of a difference. But either way, the coating is fine, it didn't come off. I mean, this is pretty much after cutting, and if you really look at the edge, guys, and I'll show you what I did to try and test this thing. There's no chips, no bends, no breaks, no rolls. I mean, and the finish really stayed on throughout all of the cutting that I did and all of the abuse that I put these things through. And I gotta tell you, I really tried my best to beat the shit out of these things. Apoc WAKIZASHI is hefty enough to split skulls and sever limbs, but light enough not to hinder a valiant retreat. So that's basically how I tested it, to basically do some light cutting, some quick maneuvering cutting to see how light and nimble it is in the hand. Very light to carry. Obviously, it's not going to take a big backpack it's not going to take a strong back to carry things around. These things are ultra light, but I got to tell you, for the lightness of these things, they handle so much more than their weight, and they basically pack a really big punch and a solid hit, and they keep on going. I mean, I could not find a way to really destroy this thing. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm sure if you wrap this thing around a metal pole, it's gonna break. And I'm actually curious to see, Matthew Jensen has the Apoc katana, and I'm curious to see what he's gonna do to I think he might bring it to failure. And I'm curious to see what it takes to make these things fail, because this thing was pretty tough. I mean, I did kind of unconventional things with it, but I wanted to see if it can, as advertised, do a hypothetically split a skull, but at least light enough to kind of do some nice maneuvering, light maneuvering type of cutting. That's exactly what I did in terms of how I chose to test out these things. What I like about this too is how these things fit. These things kind of really just click. There's a little button here. It kind of clicks into place, and it's such a satisfying kind of click, how it clicks into place. And it's just kind of a unibody construction. I think we're gonna be looking at it as more of a survival tool. If at the end of the day, if shit hits the fan, can you basically run out of the house with this thing? Now, it's light enough, it's compact enough, it can go wherever you need to go. You know, there's no rattle, it's not gonna make any noise. If you have some zombies that are basically listening to noises, you know, to attack you, there's definitely no noise. Even if you unsheath it, absolutely quiet, come out, and it's kind of ready to go. And the great thing about this thing is the fact in how they're advertising it, there's no hot spots. There's nothing that's going to cause any lesions or anything like that from using it. It's completely smooth, very, very soft. Well, I mean, smooth in the hand, and it also has a little bit of a guard here so your hand doesn't slide into the blade. It's very well thought out. And if you even look at how thick the spine is here and how it comes to a reinforced tip, and how it has a little bit of a ricasso here, and it kind of thins into the sharp point of the blade on each side. Guys, this is a solid piece of steel. It's a one unibody solid piece of 9260 spring steel with a riveted G10, 3 riveted G10s on this one, and 2 on the TANTO, and completely full tang with a really nice powerful pommel here that comes into a rounded edge you could probably even hit with, which I did. And also on the actual scabbard, you see there's a drainage hole. So it's very well thought out to the point where even if you get water inside the scabbard, it's going to drain out from here. And that's pretty much the testament of a survival tool. It's solid, and I gotta tell you, with all of the high impact hits that I was giving this thing, it was vibrating, but nothing came loose. The rivets, everything is fine. It's as solid as it was when I took it out of the box. Absolutely nothing happened to this thing, and it took a lot of abuse. I was very impressed with how much I beat the shit out of these things, and it took a lot of abuse. The TANTO is no difference. This has less vibrating because it's less of a surface area, but this thing chops like a big knife. I mean, it really went into the wood as if it's like it doesn't know what it is right now. It's light, and it's 15 ounces in weight, but it was really kind of chopping into wood like a big boy, and it's just no damage. And what I was really impressed with, which is pretty much a blade and edge killer, is the fact that I stuck this into a steel belted tire and I kind of sawed into it, and I don't see any chips or rolls or dents or scratches on the edge from doing so. And I had some other knives that kind of got damaged with that. So very impressed at the heat treatment, the steel, the way they treated the steel. And I'm kind of thinking that the way they advertise these things as far as being able to be light enough to take with you on the go and be able to maneuver and save your life with when you need it, and also be strong enough to kind of split skulls and sever limbs, I'm kind of believing it. They're pretty good. The asking price of these things, and you can get them, you have to shop around. Cat Siberia is kind of a wholesaler. I actually put the names of the companies that you can shop with, and you can get these for pretty cheap. They really pack a big punch. You really have to work to kind of really destroy these things. I think you can kind of really unleash with these things, and you don't have to worry too much. Obviously, if you're stupid or you do something stupid, you're hitting into cement or bricks or anything like that, you're going to kind of damage it. But for the most part, doing normal stuff and surviving with it, these Apocs are pretty much fit the bill as far as surviving. So I was very impressed, pleasantly surprised that they're pretty much on the standard of the zombie tools without having to pay that price tag. Of course, zombie tools are a little bit more robust, but these, for the price point and for what they're advertised with, I think you're really getting exactly what they're offering with these things in terms of their price. Absolutely, guys, these things are very well thought out. Gus Trim did a great job in terms of the comfort in the hand. The balance is pretty much an overall really good balance on these things. Found them very easy to maneuver, and I found them very tough on very high impact hits into the wood. They did a great job. And thank you, Patrick from Cat Siberia, for allowing me to review these. So if you're looking for an end of days type of weapon, or realistically speaking, if you just want something that you could have fun with in the backyard, chop up bottles, pool noodles, you can see how well it cut the pool noodles up with the edge that it had. If you're looking to have some backyard fun and not have to worry too much about having a very high priced katana or something like that, and you want to have fun, just cut things up, these definitely fit the bill, and I would definitely recommend them. That's what a survival tool is. Something that's unibody construction, that's solid, that doesn't make any noise, that basically is going to stand the elements that you don't need to maintain. The only maintenance you need of this is basically maybe to sharpen it when you need it. But I gotta tell you, even with all the cutting I did, it's still pretty damn sharp, and I think it can still keep on going in terms of a survival type of weapon or tactical, type of thing that you would need for an end of day scenario. All I have for you guys, Joe from JS Bladecraft signing out. I'll see you when I see you. Ciao.